Ain't got no health care, ain't got no money, but we're living around city, and they feed us like we're kitties, and we're knowing still. Well, this is another one just to make the point. This is really, see, my whole thing about the Peter Joseph is that he be, okay, I'm going to talk normal now. Try to speak normally. That he is, he originally came from the libertarian conspirasphere. Here it is. I think I lost my Zeitgeist movie. Here it is. So here's I have the original Zeitgeist movie I'm watching here.
That is backed by absolutely nothing.
And he's going through, which is really a typical, this story. He's saying things that I think are,
publishing rumors.
You could easily say are,
which has,
I've seen these in many, that's what I'm saying. I think this is like a prefabricated sort of, he claims that he was a drummer and he just did this whole thing. He just come up with this whole presentation of putting all this stuff together. And he just did it in a bar one night or something, and then it just turned into this movie. And then you could hear the percussion. He's supposedly a percussionist. There's really not. Maybe he was trying to get a job as some kind of movie percussionist, but there's nothing really unique or interesting about the percussion. It's very. I assume, has anyone ever seen him play the drums? But this is if you look at this, especially
inscripted,
this third part here, let's listen to a bit of this Kennedy quote, which is basically taken out of context and reformed he's talking about, Kennedy here is talking about the Soviet Union. And it's reformed to make it seem like Kennedy is talking about the cabal that the, Federal Reserve libertarian, it's this whole story about fiat currency and how it's and it's just not the real. Okay. It's just incorrect. It's an incorrect story about what's going on.
A tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No extended.
He's talking about the Soviet Union, and they're framing this in this movie very dishonestly, the Zeitgeist movie, and this is just one, especially in this third part here. Never mind, there's been a lot of people debunking the religious part of the movie, and then a lot of people debunk it from the right, pointing out, oh, this is some kind of communism. But it's that's why it's peculiar that it exists, and it exists in this this libertarian universe. Why do they create this? It's another place to put the left or something off to the side or something. Really, that's what it is. This is they even talk about people like this who say the same type of ideas. James Corbett, and G. Edward Griffin. We're gonna do a whole video on G. Edward Griffin. I think there's things from this Zeitgeist movie that are exactly the same as in G. Edward Griffin movies, or in other similar movies that show up in on Alex Jones, or at Loose Change. What's the similarities between the Loose Change movie, which was very heavily promoted by and really taken up by this one dude who became a full-on Alex Jones operative. So I'm just saying, it's just like, it's not fishy. It's just like clear to me where this is all coming from. It's like either he just came up with this all like on his own, or like I'm saying, this is just part of like a prefabricated documentary where I've seen like many people tell this same incorrect story about the founding and what the nature of the Federal Reserve, designed to get you off the trail of what's really going on, which is the government. It is about, they want you to distrust the government and end the government
Once again,
and end the Fed, which, maybe whatever the Fed, I mean, obviously there's some problems with what's going on in the economics with the Fed, basically that the Fed policy set by the Congress or set by like whoever, they put in charge of the Federal Reserve, like the Janet Yellen, then just switch to somebody else. The policy, I mean, this gets like, I don't know exactly what I'm talking about now here too, but this I'm sure is true that the corporations are all able to get very cheap money. And so they take that cheap money and it's supposed to eventually trickle down and somehow and like feed the economy. But of course they just use it to buy back their stocks and then basically just sock it away, So it isn't having the effect. Obviously, it's just more of the bullshit of, oh, let's give money to the rich, and maybe eventually they'll have to give it to, some poor people here and there. So, and it's just obviously, that's just a big lie, and it just keeps going over, and it's just like a massive, that's what I'm saying. This is the massive theft that I think we do have a legal, and they're working on it. They're talking about, Peter Joseph is talking about just letting the Koch brothers run the government, just letting them buy it. If it's so pointless, the government, why do they spend $1 billion like in 2016 to buy it? Which is cheap. They got like a way higher return even on $1 billion that they pooled together from all these like very wealthy people. That's how it works. They pool it together. They are the collective. They talk about like us being they're the collective who, this is the conspiracy. That's who they are, is like the people behind this Zeitgeist movie are the conspiracy. They're trying to like get you to believe other things, like go back to fiat money is incorrect. And that's what this is all about,
and legislation to create another central bank. However, they knew the government and public were very weary
and they
of such
just
an
say
institution.
they just drop in. If you just maybe I should find an exact thing that's like wrong about this, but they just keep dropping in like incorrect stuff that is like repeated in all these other libertarian so it's like really, in my mind, it's like not, I just don't believe the story where he just come up with this stuff on his own, and because it's exactly like all this other crap. So I was gonna try to find, here we go, and even like the stuff about it never being ratified. I found plenty of people. I had one that had just debunked it. I mean, it's very debunkable. Very goddamn debunkable. I'm going to stop this video because I don't have no more content, more rambling. But my point is, look at that third part of the Zeitgeist original movie. And like I said, I've become more, and it goes into the false flag narrative too. That's really what makes this seem, that's why, how can it go into this whole, oh, then everything was a false flag, which, okay, there were false flags. But then it's also saying, oh, 9/11 was a false flag by who? By the Jewish cabal behind our government, right? Which in a sense, this far right, I mean, it gets confusing. It gets very confusing. Because really all they want is just to confuse and divide and conquer and take the money at the end. They really don't. That's the end result. Is what they like is fewer regulations, so they could do whatever the hell they want with the economy. They own the banks, they own the oil. They have, they're it's monopoly. It just will lead to monopoly. So it's just like that's the obvious reason why we need like the state to demonopolize these MRFers, big time, at least as a start. So roundup. So stay tuned to the Gary DeForve channel.